Hi and welcome to C# tutorial of how to display MySql data on a DataGridView. And here we can also even search this very data. Let's assume we want to look for George. You don't even need to spell it all, just click on that. There we go, we have George Floyd. Rest in peace, man. And let's search for other people's details. For Paul, there's a lot of, there seems to be more than one Paul there. Let's search for King. There we go. And let's assume we just want to search for one single character there. So we also have time, dates, exits, and we can also refresh the whole system. There we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you guys straight into C# development environment, and I'll put you guys through how to create something very similar. And welcome back to C# tutorial. I'm going to start by clicking on create new project. Alright, I'm going to select my C# template here, Windows Format Application.net, C#, click on next. And let's give our project a name. I'm just going to call that CS. As for C#, I'll call it display MySql. There, that's the name. C# display MySql. Click on create. Okay guys, my development environment is ready. I will now go straight to the properties, which is right here. Let's pin that down. Let's change the property of this form to 1386 by 788. There. Next thing is come straight to the toolbox right here. If you don't have your toolbox, go straight to the Windows and just click on Window Reset Layout. Right here, I'm just going to select that. Select the toolbox and let's come right down here. The first thing, okay, let's grab two buttons, and the next thing I need is my DataGridView. Move my button down here, and I'm just going to increase the size of those buttons to approximately, let's make that 600. No, let's make it 580. Yeah. And the height, I'm going to make that about 40. Right, and let's change the font size to about 20. Make that bold. Okay, 22, that's cool. There we go. And next thing is just stretch this that long. Let's increase the size of that. Yeah, that's about that. And the same thing here. Bring it down. Now I need some labels. Now I'm going to add a label up here and a text box. Label, text box, and a button. Okay, I also need a timer. Double click on the timer. I need a text box. Make that multi-line. And I need label and a button. Label here for my title, and the button, a button for the resets, no, for the search. Now let's change the details of that button to search. And the font size, increase the font size to something readable, maybe about, let's make that 18. That's cool. Now change the name of these to txt search, and the data in here, I'm going to change the data here to something to do with display. There we go. Let's increase the font size. Display SQL data on a DataGridView. Increase the font size to something readable, maybe about 28 or so. There we go, and just move it this way. Now move these two right here, and just let's make some changes to this. this about 40 as well. Okay, that's how it's looking right now. So let's come right down here. You see this? Change that to reset. No, btn exit, and the name on it will be exit. Come right down here, just change that to exit. Move it all the way about that, and this one over here, and change the name on this to display, and that is going to be btn display. There. And right underneath here, I'm going to enter 2 labels. Those 2 labels will just be for, you don't have to do that, but that's okay, it can be done. Let's enter 1 label here. That's going to be for the timer, so I can call that LBL timer, LBL time. And the next one is going to be, let's drag it down. The next one is going to be LBL date. There. Let's increase the font size of both to about 14. Make that bold, 14. There. And just move it up. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so all I just need to do is select this and move it down a little bit. About that. And drag this right up there. So if I run it, this is how it's going to look like for now. And we can just maybe tidy things up. Let's run it and see. Alright guys, this is how it's looking. It's not too bad, so I'm going to close that anyway. And let's start work with the configuration of MySql first. The first thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to go straight to the toolbox here, or to the tools, this menu called tools, and we need to click on NuGet package manager, and that is it right there. Manage NuGet package for solution. Click on that, and right here click on the browse, and in here just enter MySql right there, and you can search for it. That is it right there. This is the one I'm going to be using. It has approximately 14.2 million. So I'm going to just click on that, and right here make sure the name of your project is selected. Click on that, and the next thing you do is, you see where we have installed, click on the install, and the next thing is you need to accept this. Just click on OK. Now you need to accept the license agreement. There we go. Now the package is being installed straight onto my system. Most of it are successful. Yeah, we're almost there now. There we go. I think we're there now. Yeah, successfully installed. So I'm going to close this. I don't need it anymore. Just go in there, close. There we go. Now the next thing I want to do is, let me show you guys the MySql itself. I'm going to click on MySql. That's MySql there. The data that I'm going to be using is right in here. So let's log into it. Just click on it, and right there I'm going to enter my password. I believe by now you guys know how to use the SQL package workbench itself. Okay, but if you don't know how to use it, there's a lot of tutorial on YouTube. I even have one tutorial on how to create database here. So one of the tables that I intend to use, I'm going to be making use of this. My table I call EMP, which stands for employee. So just click on that. Click on the table, and those are the information I intend to use. Okay, creating the table isn't that difficult. So that is the information I intend to use for my system. So I'm going to minimize that. There we go. Now the first thing is, let's double click on my form. What we want to do is to connect our system straight into MySql. So I'm going to say using MySql. That is it right there. can recognize it immediately, or the system recognizes it immediately. Double click on that. Dot, I think that's going to be dot data dot MySQL client, and enter semicolon there. That is that taken care of. So we now have the package, we can use it now. So the next thing I'm going to do is right underneath public here, I'm going to declare as follows. So let's say this following object, MySQL connection. There we go. And I'll just give it an abbreviation of MySQL con equals new MySQL. Grab that and just paste it here. Enter parentheses there. And the next thing I intend, the next object I'm going to create will be for the command. So let's say MySQL command, MySQL command. There we go. And the command, I'm just going to call it SQL command equals new. There we go, parentheses there. So that's second object created. Let's create object data table. So for the data table, I'm going to say data table. All of these objects I'm creating will be required for your connectivity. Data table, so let's just call that SQL DT equals new data table, parentheses and comma. Let's create adapt. Let's say MySQL, that would be data adapt. Yeah, data adapter. So I'm just going to call that DTA, maybe uppercase, equals new data adapter. Right. Now let's grab a reader on board. I'm going to need a reader as well, and maybe declare one string variable. So I'm going to say MySQL data reader. There we go. And what do we call that? SQL R, maybe RD. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Yeah, okay, let me settle for that for now. Now the next thing I want to do is, what about data set? So let's say ds equals new data set. There we go. All right, I'm gonna then declare those are what I need for my connections. Then the other thing is all of those objects are in place now anyway. Now the other thing I want to do is I'm going to create some string variable that I'm going to need. I'm going to call this server. The server equals localhost. There. And create another one. May have to speed this up because time is going. Enter that there. All right, so I have all my variables in place and my object. Okay, or we can call it constructor. Now the next thing I want to do is I'm going to create a private function. Let's say private void update or upload. Let's just call it upload data. There, inside this upload data, what I'm going to say is SQL con that I have right up there is very constructive. So, and I want you to, let's say dot connect, dot connection string equals all of the following information here. So server equals server. Okay, server equals server. User ID equals user. Password equals password. And my database equals my database. There. So I have that in place. Let's move this way so that you guys can see what's there. That is it. Now the next thing I want to do is, let's come right down here and open up our connector. Connect.open. Enter parentheses. Now right underneath here we now need to invoke our command. Command equals, so that is actually meant to be, come on, get rid of that. That is it. Let's say command dot connection, there we go, equals SQL. Now the next thing is command dot connection text, and we'll say my connection text is going to be select it all from my database. It's called employee, and the table is also called employee, so I'm just going to leave it like that. Employee emp dot emp. That's it. That's my database. Now let's get the reader involved in this. SQL read equals SQL command dot execute reader. Enter parentheses. And the next thing is, let's get it loaded. SQL data dot load, and once it's loaded we want it to read what is loaded as well. So SQL read, there we go, that's it. Finally, let's close the reader. We need to close this. Come right down here, dot close. We also need to close the connector, this very one. It should be clearly red, and the close is uppercase. And we also need to close the connection, or the connecting object. Now we now need to invoke or to add all of the data straight onto my DataGridView. So you come in here and grab the name of, I'm going to grab the name of my DataGridView, go back in here, just press enter, paste that in here, dot data source, and the data source equals SQL DT. There, that's where the data source is, because it's loaded right in here. Okay, and that's all there is to it. So what we need to do is we need to get this initialized. So I'm going to copy that, the name of the private function there, and I'm going to paste it right underneath initialize components. So all we need to do now is just to try it out. Oh, we need to enter column there. There we go. You have to enter your column. And let's try it out now. Click on start. There we go. Look at that. That's beautiful. Okay, now that is working. We now need to take care of this, and this. So let's come right down here. The first thing I want to do now is select the text box there, go straight to the properties in here, and let's go to event. I'm going to change that event, and when you double click on it, I want you to, or when you click on it, I want you to be able to search. So right in there, we enter the following. So I'm going to say try. Okay. Now, using an if statement, I'm going to say if e dot key child equals shall close that 13. Okay, if it's equals child 13, let's use an if statement. So data view so I'm just going to call that dv equals SQL data table dot default view. Close that. Now dv dot role, let it get it filtered, equals string dot format. And what we are formatting, because I'm going to be searching with first name, I'm going to say first name. I have a column called first name, like first name, and an apostrophe there, percent, then we enter curly braces. So if there's nothing in there, this is what we want the system to do. There we go. Then we enter comma in here, and the data, we should be able to find the data inside that we want to look for inside TFC search. Now we want everything displayed inside the right in here. Let's copy that. Everything that is displayed in there, paste that in here, and that is equals dt.table dot to table. Once what we're looking for is found, it should be displayed right inside the table. That's what the dt.table stands for. Okay, so now I'm going to say else if there's any problem. I'm going to say option explicit here, ex, and in here the condition is going to be based on as follows. Let's say message box dot show, and what are we showing? So let's just say ex dot message. That's good enough for me, and enter semicolon there. Alright, that takes care of the code when you click on the text box. So I'm going to copy this, just copy all of that. I'm going to use it for the button beside it as well. Come right down here, double click on the button, paste that in here, but the button does not work with the ASCII, so I'm going to get rid of that. There we go. So that's fine for the button. So if we try it out now, let's say we want to look for any name in there. If I say P, I can just click on my keyboard. There we go. Okay, let's say we want to look for George. Click on search. George is not there. It's not on the system. Let's go for A and see what's going to happen. A is not on the system as well. Okay, we have to be able to refresh, so let's take care of those. Now let's come back in here. First of all, I want to take care of display, so that we can refresh. So I want to take care of that. We double click on that, and right there the display I'm going to call, say, let's say this, which stands for the form dot hide. And now I'm going to create an object. The object I'm just going to call it main. That's for the form equals new this is very form 1. I'm going to say main dot show. There we go. So that should take care of that. I should be able to refresh with that. I might as well just call this very function up there. Let's see. There we go. Grab it. That's it. Copy. Come right down here and just paste it underneath there. Let's paste. Let's run it and see if we can refresh the whole system. Yeah, there we go, guys. So let's look for anybody in there. I'm going to look for I know. Yeah, come in there, search. There we go. Let's try and look for something else. Let's look for Kim. We can find Kim as well. Then we should be able to find our man George. There we go. We can find George Floyd. Okay, we can find George Floyd on the system. Rest in peace, George. Now let's click on display. There we go. The system reload itself. So what is left for me to do is to take care of the exit and these two labels here. Okay, let's come right in here. Double click on. Let's double click on the exit. And that there. Double click on the exit, and in here, or maybe we should just create a function, then we can call both function. Let's come right on here. Let's create a function here. So I'm going to call that function private. Void. Just call it me exit. Enter parentheses. And right in here, I'm going to use try cache. Inside the try cache, let's enter coil braces again. And right here, let's say cache. There. Right in front of the cache, let's enter our exception. There we go. I can even copy that here somewhere. I have it here, exception error. That's it. Copy this one and just bang it there. Right there. So that takes care of that. Now in here, I'm going to declare the following. So let's say dialog result is called I exit. Okay. So I can then say I exit, or I can just use an if statement to take care of everything. So that's declared already. Or let's just go ahead and get it done. I exit equals message box dot show. Confirm if you want to exit. So that's my first argument, comma. The next argument, I'm just going to call it display data. That's second argument. So display data will be the title. The next argument is going to be message box buttons dot yes or no. The fourth argument is going to be message box icon. Get rid of that. That should be a comma. Message box icon dot question. Now let's use an if statement here. So if I exit equals dialog result dot yes, and right underneath here we just want application dot exit. Exit. There. Enter. So that takes care of my exit. So all I need to do is call this exit. Copy that. And let's go to my exit button. Double click on the exit button. Paste that in there. Enter semicolon. And I'm also going to call it right in here on my form. Click on the form. And right here, just make sure the form is selected. Go to the properties. event, I need form closing. This is double click on that and just enter that in there. There we go. That takes care of the exit. Now we need to take care of the date and time. So let's scroll right down here. Yeah, date and time. So we can do that inside form load or whatever. And we also need to take care of this, the timer. So the timer is for the label up here. I think that should be the timer. Yeah, that's correct. So let's take care of the timer first. Double click on the timer. And right in there, I'm just going to enter as follows. Let's say LBL timer dot time dot text equals dates time, yeah, dots now dots to long, yeah, to long time spring. That is it. Enter that. And the next thing is I'm just going to say timer one dot start. There we go. There. Timer one dot start. I may even copy that or even copy everything. I'll just change it around. Okay, the next thing is let's go straight into initialize. I want it to initialize this. Where is it? It's right there. We go. That's it. There. So the timer will be initialized by the form itself, and I'm just going to change this to date. And in here, I'm going to change that to dot to long date string, and that is it. There. So that takes care of the dates, and the timer will be initialized by the form. So let's run the program and see how that's going to look like. There we go, guys. You can see the time and the date. Exit works too. Okay, we can search. Let's search for Esther. Search there and repopulate. There we go. And that's how you create your own displaying MySqL data on a DataGridView. So I'm just going to call it the end of this nice tutorial, and you all have a nice day now. Bye for now.